Hello, everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome. Yeah, tonight is a very special night, right? I think we have a pretty much an interesting conversation that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about something that unifies the whole world. You know, I think what we're going to talk about today, everybody can agree. Everybody can agree the way it brings people together. And what is that? Why is that? What is it? What is it, Mr. Ray?
We're going to talk about music in all its splendor.
Music in all its splendor. Guys, music. Music is the forbidden fruit. Music is a beauty, and music unifies people. Music brings down the wall. You know, music is very, 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 very special. Like when we talk about music, like for instance, even if you go back, like for example, when there was still that, I can say the term segregation in the United States of America, when MTV used to broadcast only there was the white music and everything. And there was that, and they also used to broadcast MTV, right? That's what they used to do. Then there came a legend, Michael Jackson. And what did he do? He totally broke the barriers, man. Like in terms of MTV, because that's the power of music. You know, it really breaks barriers, and I think. It's pretty much interesting. Yeah, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, music is an energy. That's what I have to say about music. There is a debate among certain people whether music is alive or not. Is music a living entity, merely an energy? Some people would like to philosophically have that debate. And I think music is simply my heartbeat. I can't live without music, without listening to good music, you know? And music is that power that just transcends everything. It inspires everybody. It heals wounds. It mends broken hearts. And it has such a powerful effect.
Music is an energy. You know, we can't do without music. Music is actually the energy that helps people. You know, it's in a way like a reliever. You know, it relieves you from stress. You know, you can have a hard day, you get home. You know, I would say it's probably the closest thing to love. You know, it actually releases the stress out of you. You know, like you had a tough day, you had a hard day, you go home. And you just want to relax, and what you do, you just listen to good music. You know what I mean? You know, you put in the playlist, you put on the playlist your favorite artist, and you're good to go. And that's it really has a positive energy. You know, when we talk about music, and I'm pretty much excited that we have this conversation about music. But then there's a little. Yeah, we all know what music is all about. Like we are pretty much familiar with the pop culture music right now, you know. And to be quite honestly, obviously, it's the United States that is pretty much dominated the music industry for quite a long time, right? Like the United States and all that. And in a way, it has pretty much casted a shadow, you know, over certain genres. You know what I mean? Like. It's probably now via through the access of internet. That's when people are now in a way they are pretty much. There's now this I would say this diversity of music now. You know, people can actually listen to certain kind of music. But then I feel like probably if I say the America, I would say like in general like the English speaking countries, they pretty much set an overcast. You know, they overshadowed, you know, other genres of music. And so people they didn't really have, you know, like we consumed what they were giving us. But then, weirdly enough, they didn't know the different genres that are out in the world, right? Like I feel like those people who live in the Western countries, right? They are pretty much in a way limited. Back in the days, now with social media and everything, with these Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they can actually have access to what's going on around the globe. But then back in the days, you see like they were pretty much feeding what they used to produce, and that was it, right? Well, what do you think about that? Like the fact that like the English-speaking countries, they're the ones who pretty much overcasted that music vibe. Like we in a way fed what they were giving us,
Yeah. Well, if you own the media, then you pretty much have that ability to, expand your culture, expand your tradition, because you own the media and you decide what you would like to show on it, and other people can only consume. So now with the advent of the internet, things have changed to where what we produce here in Africa, we can now export to the rest of the world. So, I mean, I think it goes without saying. It's an absolute certainty that it's been that way for a long time.
It's really been that way for a long time. It's really been that way for a long time.
So
now that we are out of the shadow, now that we got freed from that, with the access of the internet and all that, we want to take a very special occasion, especially on this podcast here. We want to introduce you to African music. Of course, we're going to talk about music in general, but we want to introduce you to African music, the beauty of African music. What do you know about African music? What do you know if it's not just the current Afrobeats that's pretty much common now, but do you know the depth of Africa? The kind of music that that comes from the continent of Africa. Guys, it is a very, 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 the depth is, it's amazing. Africa is on different genres that we cannot have. Obviously, we're not going to speak of all genres on this podcast, but we just want to introduce you to the kind of genres that Africa offers. We're going to talk about African music, the beauty of African music. Let us dive into it. Different artists, those who shaped, those who molded, our childhood. Those who molded you guys' childhood. We are pretty much going to try our best to diversify in this conversation, because I think that, Africa also has a lot to offer when it comes to this craft that we call music, right?
yeah, certainly, Africa definitely has a lot to offer to the world. Well, Africa offered music to the world.
Okay.
That's what Africa did. That's one of Africa's biggest gifts to the world. Music, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as many people are concerned, originated from Africa. I think, well, Africa is the cradle of mankind. And when man started walking the earth here in Africa, it wasn't a long time before they started using certain instruments, or be it their hands or certain tools, to create sounds that were very much alike what we would call music today.
Yeah.
Certain rhythm, certain drum beats, certain taps on trees or whatever, in order to make sounds. And, so all that actually originated in Africa and was then spread across the rest of the world. So Africa did not just contribute to the current music realm, but Africa gave music to the world.
All right. So, just like you say, so Africa, what we can say about Africa, Africa music is such an important, used to be, and it still is an important tool for communication. Like, from what we heard from our forefathers and all that, through the oral history that they've been telling us, is that people usually used to communicate, via drums, messages used to be sent through that, you know, or at times, you know, due to certain traditions, you know, when they want to cast a certain spell, you know, the kind of dances that people would dance around the fire, you know, that. So back then, that was how music used to be. But then music has evolved now. You know, people are now pretty much getting entertained via music. And I think, you know, we Africans, of course, we might not have the glitz and glamours that you see around the world. We might not have, you know, the infrastructure and all that. But believe me, our music is so rich. You know, I would give anything just for African music, you know. And we want to take this opportunity to introduce you to the African music. All right, Ronnie. So let's talk about African music. Where can we start? Which country can we start to diversify about what they brought to African music, their contribution to the music, to the African culture, you know, to the music that has, you know, that we grew up with. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I pretty much recall when I was a child, you know, during Christmas time, you know, New Year's Eve, you know, there were certain artists who always used to, they used to have music, you know, they used to bring out these albums, especially just for Christmas, you know, for people to dance and feast about around it and all that. You know, yeah, so tell me, which country should we start with? Actually, first,
well, I think we can pick a few countries from the north of Africa, and some of the countries that really inspired me musically are countries such as Senegal and, you know, Mali and some of those countries. And if we come to Central Africa, you have musical juggernauts like the DRC, for instance. I think they've contributed a lot to African music. And then if you go to Southern Africa, of course, you have countries like South Africa and Zimbabwe, who has also contributed to a good extent. So I guess we can pick, I don't know, we can start in the north, in the center, or in the south. It's all up to us.
All right, good. So here we go. Africa. I pretty much want to start with the Northern Africa. Northern Africa is pretty much, you know, like where can we drop in Northern Africa? Because when we look at the likes of Egypt, you know, it's pretty much the Arabic realm, you know, which it also introduced, you know, when people talk about belly dancing, you know, the dancing style that they usually have back there, you know, that sensual dancing and all that, you know. It's of course, you know, we are pretty much not well versed in terms of that, but we can actually introduce you to some of to that kind of music. You know, I remember the guy who sang. His name was the guy who sang OTT OTT OTT. The one who sang Aisha écoutez-moi.
His name Khaled something.
Yeah, Khaled something. You know. He's the guy that probably when we were kids, like we used to dance to his music. You know, I think his music went like, you know, it was such of a certain.
Yeah, Khaled, exactly. It's just Khaled. That's his name.
Yeah, exactly. And he had a beautiful tempo. You know, we pretty much enjoyed his music, and he's one of the few artists that really broke the barriers. You know what I mean? You know, when a certain artist, you know, when a musician artist offers his art form, you know, to the global world, he expects it to break barriers. He expects countries, you know, different nations to consume it. And Khalid, right?
Yeah. He
actually pretty much succeeded into that, you know, because everybody was singing the song of Aisha, you know, when we were kids, you know, and the ATT, that song. Those are pretty much the song that I remember. But yeah, but he pretty much the thing. And also, you know, the belly dancing and all that. See, most of the dances that we see, like on a global stance, you know, like you always say, most of them, you know, it has some origins of Africa.
Right.
And pretty much, I would give them props to that. Like, you know, we really want to talk about the countries that pretty much defined what is the African culture. You know, when you listen to the drums, when you listen to the tempo and everything, yeah. So there's North Africa, That's the artist that actually can come in my mind. And yeah, so what else you want to like? Do you have anything to add about the artist? Like what he did, like when we were kids. You remember, right? When we
Yeah, of course. I mean, we certainly had parties during which his music played, and we had I think, a fun time dancing to that. And I think what Khalid was able to do also spread his music from the Arab world to, other francophone or anglophone Africa or even beyond. I think that
Yeah.
was quite an achievement. What he was able to do.
exactly.
So definitely, we stand in appreciation of what that man achieved.
We pretty much appreciate that. All right, so yeah, so we also going to talk about where we're going to go. I will talk about Congolese music. Like we are in the Congo right now. Let's talk about the impact of Congolese music. What has Congolese music done to the world, to Africa, if I have to say, and the artists that really shaped the rumba genre, the most famous names that we can recall, Yeah, so let's talk about Congolese music.
Okay. Congolese music. So we're talking about Congo with the K or Congo Brazzaville, Congo Kinshasa. All right. So if I would like to start because there's so much more to say about the DRC because they have most of the popular musicians. But starting here in the Republic of Congo, I don't know. I mean, we've had orchestras such as Bantu de la Capitale, and I think they achieved great things. They really added greatly to Congolese music in general, and of course you have groups such as Extra Musica and singers like Trésor Mvula, and now you have guys like Afara Tsena and Tijan Mario and some of those guys who are doing a great job, and they entertain a lot of people to a great extent. But what really drives me about Congolese music here in the Republic of Congo is the traditional music. I think the traditional music here in the Congo, for me, it's the most powerful music genre in the world. That's how I feel about it. And I definitely get a lot of inspiration from that. Now, crossing over to the other side of the river, the bigger Congo, the Congo DRC, of course, you have great musicians, old school musicians such as Konkali and Luambo and, the late Tabule and Kofi Olomide and all those guys who've achieved so much and contributed greatly to DRC music. So their music is certainly inspiring. There's so much more to say about it. What's your take on it?
All right, my take on it, guys, to be quite honest with you, Congolese music has been, I think everybody can actually testify to that. People can actually agree. We can all agree to that. What Congo has done, throughout the history of Africa, Congo has really molded what we call modern music. You can even see from currently what we hear from Afro music. What's raining in Nigeria. You see some of the people that will tell you that when we were growing up, we were pretty much inspired by the Congolese music. The likes of Awilo Longomba. Those are the guys who pretty much they had that music. He always has that kind of music that pleases the diaspora world. Everybody wants to listen to his music. Awilo Longomba's music was pretty much catchy. He's got beautiful songs. And I also remember back in the days, especially in the 90s, the person who really took the continent of Africa by storm was Kofi Olomide. Kofi Olomide, especially with his album Loire, that album was very... It's pretty much, I would say that is pretty much, I think that is pretty much his best album, an album that made him, I would say he became a a global the African, like in the continent, like he became a sensation. You know what I mean? When you hear about Koffi Olomide, you know, the music that he used to play, you know, he brought in something new, I would say. You know, Koffi Olomide, and of course, there's the likes of Tabule. You know, of course, we don't want to. We're going to talk about the ladies. You know, the likes of Milia Bell. You know, Chalamwana. Chalamwana, may her soul rest in peace. Yeah, she pretty much, you know, and the traditional culture, the dances that she brought, Mutuashi. You know, that's a very, 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 very. Guys, if you haven't ever seen Mutuashi, believe me, you will pretty much enjoy what you're going to see. And she was the queen of Mutuashi. And respect to her for that. You know, so what DRC has done, of course, we're talking about the likes of Tabules, you know, the Majilu system, the Francos, you know. Those are the people that I was even surprised. One time, Barack Obama was having this interview, and he was asked about African music. And he talked about Congolese music. You know, he said Congolese music, and he mentioned Franco. You know, say I know music from Congo, and he even says something to the sense. Of course, I'm just paraphrasing, but he says something to the sense of whereby Congolese music really molded like music. You know, in its sense of, you know, like in terms of the African culture. You know, he mentioned something like that, and he mentioned Franco. So Franco, what he also did back in the days, because Franco, of course, he's the pioneer, because he's the one who introduced the loss of Simarum to Lutumba, you know, and the likes of the guy who sang Majilu System. They had it was pretty much a group. Of course, I'm not gonna. I don't really have. I'm pretty much, guys. We are the millennium. We don't really have. You know, those are pretty much. But he's the pioneer, if I have to say, the one who in a way brought that music globally. You know. So Franco, respect to him, may so rest in peace. And there's also the likes of Tabule. I remember when, you know, his old music, you know, everybody can actually relate to his music. You know, those are legends of music, legends of Africa. When people listen to them, you really feel the sense of, yeah, I really love my motherland, you know, Africa. Yeah, so of course, I'm actually going from generation to generation. So I'm talking about the Tabules, the Francos, of course. Then later on came the last of Papa Wemba, Koffi Olomide's, the Papa Wemba's, Koffi Olomide's, and when they came, they ushered in this new style, this new genre of music. You know, the last of Dombolo, you know, Kwasa Kwasa. You know, everybody was hooked into that kind of thing. They really ushered in all these things, and there was that vibe, you know, and Congo was pretty much a prominent. It became people knew Congo, you know, out of its music, and it set that impact, right? And the generation evolves, right? The generation evolves. Of course, things are getting modernized now. You know, certain cultures are kind of influencing. You know, like the rumba that we're listening nowadays is pretty much not the typical rumba that we used to have back in the days. You know, the typical rumba we used to have back in the days was pretty much. Yeah, it was core, you know what I mean? It was pure, you know what I mean? Like when you listen to he sings "O Benit," you know, Simaro, you know, with the songs that he wrote, you know, and the guy who sang Usman Bakayoko, you know, all those guys, the guy who sang Maya, you know what I mean? Testament, you know, all those guys, beautiful voices. They're pretty much a lullaby to our childhood. They really made us be proud of ourselves, right? Then, when we're getting now into the 1990s, you know what I mean? Of course, then they came the likes of Jimbe Piana, you know, those guys, you know, they also set a mark, you know, Alain Makaba. His name is pretty much as if I'm pretty much not familiar with his name, but they really impacted the music in genre, you know, the Jibin Pianas, the Wera Songs, you know, with their group, you know, what they ushered in, you know, through Wera Song, we now see the likes of Ferregola, you know, and through that, Wera Song, what he did, he also ushered in the new generation, you know, that they are pretty much, to me personally, I would say there are two groups, you know, there's Koffi Olomide's group, which is called Charlatan, And where our songs go, Wenge Musica. So Wenge, they ushered in. They are the ones who pretty much ushered in the current musicians that we have, bro. They are the pioneers, of course. You know, Kofi, what he did, Kofi usually had the trend of recruiting musicians, his dancers. They would dance with him, you know, and there was that vibe, you know, that, you know, they like, in a way, he was also advertising their talent, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You see, like, the likes of, back in the days, we talked about the album of Loire. The album of Loire. What did Kofi do? There was Burompela, right? Burompela, he was the main dancer, right? There was Burompela. He was amazing, and he used to dance properly and all that. Then after that, there was that guy. What do you call it? Depichu, right? I'm actually going according to the trend. You know what I mean? Since we're Congolese, and we got to talk about how things actually evolved. There was Burompela. There was Depichu. Then came the chosen one. In my own point of view, if I have to say, Fally Ipupa.
I don't think it's only your own. I think many people's point of view,
Yeah. Fally Ipupa. Guys, if you haven't heard about Fally Ipupa, that guy, he's a musical genius. To be quite honest with you, I give him his props. I pretty much respect him. And Fally Ipupa, what he did, it's amazing. You know, there's Fally Ipupa, and he came in, you know. Huge respect to him, and what he did, the music that, you know, especially when he was dancing with Kofi, like everybody could tell, okay, this kid here, you know, once he's gonna come out of this thing, he's really gonna blow up, and he really did, you know. And of course, now there's everybody's not becoming, you know, so right now, so back in the 90s, you know, it was Koffi Olomide, and the early 2000s, I think Koffi Olomide is the one who pretty much embodied the whole thing. Then after Koffi Olomide, we're not talking about Fally Ipupa. Fally, he's the current, like, I would say he's the current, if we have to put a name to it, you know, we will say, like, he's the Michael Jackson of the Congo. You know what I mean? Of course. So we're going to talk about it in that sense. You know what I mean? Because he's the one who's pretty much doing his thing, and people are, in a way, giving him his props. So that's the music, you know, I actually went through steps by steps just to show you how the Congolese music, the way it has evolved. So, and people are pretty much familiar with Ndombolo, you know, with Rumba and all these kind of things. And I always talk about the guy also, Awilo Longomba, you know, let me get back to him. What Awilo Longomba also did, you know, they did a lot of things. You know, the last of Felix Wazekwa, you know, those guys, right, you know, the Congolese world has pretty much, you know, they have embodied, they have married there. You know, Zaiko Langa Langa, that guy is he's a G. I know, it's like, you know, he can, like, the fun thing about Zaiko, right? He can, I would say the fun thing about Zaiko, right? He can put out an album 10 years later, and when he brings out another album, it's a hit, it's a banger. You've noticed it, right?
Yeah.
Like, he can go silent for quite a while, right? And when he comes back, it's like it's like he's never gone. And that's the beauty of it. Like, do you have something that you want to add upon it?
I just wanted to add Mbilia Bello. She's one of
Yes, Mbilia Bello. Yeah, we talk about the ladies, man.
Yeah, she's really special for me. She's if I have my favorite male musician from the DRC all time is Koffi Olomide. Definitely, just because his music was just so passionate. The things he sang about, he was inhabited by such an unfathomably pure soul that just produced heavenly kind of music. It was just amazing what he was able to do. And as far as women are concerned, Mbilia Bello is that person for me. I think she just sang amazingly well back in the days, and her music is still relevant in my life even today. So
her music is still relevant. Mbilia Bello, she's of course, she's pretty much the person, you know, that we all, you know, like right now, more according to the current pop culture, like Mbilia Bello back in the, like, she was like our Beyonce, you know what I mean? Like, you know, in the sense whereby she was beautiful, you know, men wanted to be with her. She was sexy. Her music was enticing, you know, her dances. She was catching the eye. So, yeah, she was catching the eye. But for me personally, you talked about Mbilia Bello, like I mentioned, for me it was Chalamona. Like, I'm a huge fan of Chalamona. I've always been like, I was always amazed, the way she stayed true to her mother tongue, to her mother tongue. She sang in Muluba. Chala Mwana actually sang in Muluba, and yeah. So it was. And the way she dances, she used to dance back in the days. But what you mentioned about Kofi, like especially the Kofis of the 80s, I'm not mistaken, or the 90s. When he used to sing the likes of Cuckoo, Aspirin, man, Kofi was really, but the fun thing about Kofi, right? He's a generational star, like he's still present, like till this day. Like Kofi is he's still like an active, but of course he's now changed his music genre to what the current generation pretty much wants to listen to. You know what I mean? He's a businessman. We can't blame him for that. A man's got to work. He's doing his business. You know what I mean? Like even though we're pretty much familiar with the beautiful songs that he used to do back in the days, but he's personally, I think the way Kofi's thinking, he's thinking from a business mindset now. Like he really wants to, he's trying to do something for the new generation. Like he wants the new generation to still see him as that guy.
It's not really working.
Yeah, he's pretty much working because people are still dancing to it.
It's not really working. I think a lot of people are ashamed. He's seen in a very bad light nowadays. I sincerely wish he would just stop, to be honest. If you ask my honest opinion, Kofi should stop doing what he's doing. This man has inspired so many people. Do you see people listening to his current songs, to whatever songs he brings out nowadays? Do people really listen to that? If you get into the taxis, if you go to the parties, it's still the old music. So which means that whatever he has coming out now is just not that relevant. I'm sorry. It's the truth of the matter. He can try, but he has a very bad name. He's built such a terrible reputation for him. And whatever he's doing right now is just not working in his favor. Now, I'm not saying that he does not. It's still there in him, in his soul somewhere. If he was able to do it back in the days, it has to be lurking somewhere in the depths of his soul. But he definitely has it stuffed. It's as if he doesn't want it to come out. It's as if he wants this wild side of him to be portrayed to the world. And I can't figure out why for the life of me. Hey. Why is he doing what he's doing? I'm just being honest about it. I mean, I'm not going to hate the hustler. I mean, he can do whatever he wants to do. Like you said, he's probably thinking business-wise. Okay, cool. All right, he can go ahead and do that. But I'm just going to tell the truth that what he's doing right now is, if you listen to his music from back in the days, and if you look at this person that's doing whatever he's doing these days, it's like two different people. I don't like associating those people. For me, I like to think that was a different person. And this is a whole different other. I don't want to ascribe any negative adjective to him, but seriously, I mean, I guess you get my meaning.
Yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Of course, just like I said, to me, from where I would view Kofi's career right now, I respect the hustler out of him. Like Kofi right now, he's a hustler. He's a businessman. I respect that, and I will always respect anybody who tries to find a way to renovate himself. He probably has his people around him who told him to go a certain way, or probably he opted that way by himself. But I think he tried, with the trend that was moving upon, and people were pretty much just. I felt like the audience, they were pretty much just they had enough of him. I would say, like they had okay, we know what Kofi offers. We know. Okay, this is the kind of music we have. And that's why I think he felt that. So that's why he pretty much wanted to do something, to appease the new guys, Hey, man, DRC is pretty much, there are plenty of them right there, you know what I mean? And there's competition, so you can't just be, you can't just be placed in a certain mold, I think he really tried to expand his creativity. And I respect it, honestly.
Of course he did. He did.
I respect it.
But did he do so successfully? That's the question.
Hey,
Would
man.
you say he did so successfully?
The fact that, look, the fact that his name, he's a powerhouse, you know, in whatever domains, like we might not hear about Kofi like in the Congo, but believe me, when he goes to other countries, you know, his music is pretty much prominent. You know, what he's offering right now is pretty much prominent. You know
Is
what I mean?
it?
Yeah. Like you see, he currently did he did a feature with Diamond Platinum. You know what I mean? And people pretty much like it. It's pretty much one of the most viewed videos of Diamond Platinum in his thing. It's one of the most viewed videos. You know,
Okay.
and he's figuring his way out. You know what I mean? Respect to the G, man. Let's see what the hey, man. This is the old man. He's doing his thing. Respect him. He's a hustler. You know, personally, I feel like we should always respect anybody who's trying to hustle and
Sure.
try to find a way his way out there. You know, we can't just put him in a certain mold. Like,
no, we're not doing that. Of
Yeah.
course, like I said, I totally respect what he's doing. I respect what he's doing
okay,
from a businessman mindset, or I don't know how to even qualify it. I'm at a loss for words.
yeah,
I understand what he's doing. You know, of course, you know he has to keep making money. He has to keep making money, right?
Sure.
He has to upkeep a certain sort of lifestyle. He has to take care of his kids. There are so many things that he has to do. But what I am saying is, for most people, okay, let me not speak for most people. Let me speak for myself. If it was possible to erase in my mind post 2010 Kofi, I gleefully would do that.
Oh, really?
And I think for most of people too.
Okay.
If it was possible to just keep, because look, what is popular, right? Is what people listen to, is what people embrace. Now, when you go inside the taxis, we're here, you know, we're in the Congo, right? When you get inside the taxis or you go to the parties and all that, what you listen to Aspirine, you listen to Cuckoo, you listen to some of my favorite songs like Bambino or Gino, or some of those songs, some of those beautiful songs that, you know, were just clean, of songs like Fazer. I mean, when I listen to that, that's just
SOS.
SOS. That was just. But what he has coming out now, and just the things that he's doing, the way he's conducting himself, he's not a role model. That's just the truth. Kofi Olomide is not a role model right now. He's not a role model. I'm sorry. That's just the truth of the matter. And I don't knock his hustle. Okay, let him keep doing what he's doing. But the day, I don't even know. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, that should express how much love I have for that man,
Oh.
how much respect I have for Kofi Olomide.
Yeah.
You know, but just to see what he's doing right now, the way he's conducting himself, the sort of scandals that he finds himself with, with his dancers or whatever. Kofi Olomide did this or Kofi Olomide did that, and the sort of videos he has coming out with all these naked women, and he's saying all these vile things. He's not a role model. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man.
And I respect him. I love what he did back in the days, but that is just my honest opinion.
Yeah.
About that band.
Of course, everybody like most of the people would agree. They pretty much prefer the coffee that we grew up with. You know, the coffee from the late 80s to the late 2000s. You know, to the late 2000s, getting into 2010. Now, people would pretty much, in a way, they would say, okay, those were this is the coffee that we're pretty much using and familiar with, right? Hey, man, like, honestly, whatever it is, like, just like you say, let's respect the hustle, right? Let's respect the hustle. The guy's a hustler. He's trying to find his way out. Respect to him, right? Yeah, so there's Kofi Olomide. We talked about Kofi Olomide. And of course, come on, guys, there are pretty much a lot of them. You remember Eminea? We didn't even talk about Eminea.
Yeah.
That guy he was a fun guy. You know what I mean? His music,
Eminea.
Eminea,
sure.
man.
That was a
You know, the Oh Nzizi,
great musician.
you know, beautiful songs. You know, those kind of songs. that
Redi
pretty much-
Amisi, you know.
Redi Amisi. Oh man,
Good musician.
legends. Guys, you've got to be Congolese to know what we're talking about. Those guys, they really no.
And one
Papa
of
Wemba,
one
man.
of my favorite, such a respectful man. I really wish someone like Kofi would have just, he should be the wise elderly man who the youngsters will go to for advice because they
look up
just
to.
revere him due
Yeah.
to what he did back in the days, the ilk of music he produced. A man such as Lukwa Kanza,
Oh man, look what comes, man.
he's a, I don't know.
Yeah, look what comes.
He's
genre
a,
is
he's
so
a
unique.
wonderful human being.
He's a
And
wonderful
just a
human
great singer.
Yeah,
And
man.
such an intelligent man and
Yeah.
a decent man.
decent man. A decent
Yeah,
man.
it's just
A
I
decent man.
really appreciate who
Hey,
that man is.
like as you all know, guys, we like right now, we're pretty much expressing our frustration towards Kofi Olomide. It's pretty much it's just out of love. We know who Kofi Olomide is. He's a music legend. Especially in the Congolese, in the African domain, people pretty much respect him. Like, that's beautiful. So at times, it's pretty much hurts us at times just to see, the superstar that he is. That we love so dear at times, finding himself in certain scandals and all that. But hey, man, just like we say, we respect the artist, we wish him all the best in whatever endeavor that he is. And he should just know that he has a huge fan that still craves for what he used to offer, If only he can have one album, where he offers us the kind of music that we used to listen to, like The Last of Cuckoo. He still has it in him.
Of
Like
course.
Kofi, like at times, right, you think, okay, the guy, okay, we can never. Then at times you can say, okay, Kofi, okay, I don't think we can get that. Then he surprises you. He brings in a certain rumba. You know that song that says, Salo Zongawa, Salo Zongawa,
Right,
na,
right,
na,
of
na.
course.
A beautiful song. I'm like, come on, man. Kofi still has it in him. You know what I mean? And I think people pretty much respect him for that. They know the artist that he is, and they know the strategy that he's putting. People pretty much, they can actually figure it out. Like the guy is a businessman, and he's taking he's handing his music career as a business enterprise. Respect to the guy. All right. Okay. So what about the new generations, brother man? Gazma Wete, Enos B, those guys are killing it, man. They're killing it. They are here in they are, and then also Fabregas, legends also, legends in the making, if I have to use the term. Those guys are pretty much popping right?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know much about Gas Mawete and all those. I don't even know one song of his.
Oh, really?
I know Enos B, of course. I've listened to a few of his songs. Fabregas, I think, he has some pretty good songs out there. But to be honest, I'm an old soul.
Yeah, man.
So guys like Kofi, that's the kind of effect that listening to Kofi has had on me. I just listening to his old music, I find it very hard to appreciate anything that's coming out now.
Of course.
And I totally appreciate what these youngsters are doing. Speeds and all these guys that you're mentioning. They definitely have the whole of Africa dancing and beyond.
They have the whole of Africa dancing and beyond.
which is a great, admirable thing.
It is an admirable thing. Respect to the new guys. Those guys are pretty much amazing. But what's your thought of Fally Ipupa? The guy who's pretty much holding the crown right now.
Fally. What can I say about Fally? Fally, I think he's an amazing musician. I think he's really doing a great job. He's an artist. He's a great dancer. He's a charismatic man. I like the way he's carrying himself around. Exactly. He's not caught up in any
Drama.
crazy scandals or drama or any of that. And he's definitely carrying the torch right now. I think he's definitely at the helm of what current Congolese music is.
Yeah.
So I do certainly appreciate what he's doing.
Totally. Fally Ipupa, what Fally Ipupa has done, I feel like him, because Fally Ipupa, he came out of Quartier Latin. And I think that was pretty much a good school for him. I think that's where he pretty much learned the essence of music. Because what he's doing right now, he's the one who's pretty much diversifying the Congolese genre. You know what I mean? He's trying to break the walls. He's trying to modernize the rumba music. You know what I mean? when you see him going around globally, like people are actually talking about him, and that's something that we should applaud to the artist. You know what he's doing, what he's done. You know, you talked about his charisma, the way he handles himself. You know, he's not. You don't see Fally Ipupa in dramas and all that, and he's pretty much carrying it. You know, and he's pretty much. We would say Fally Ipupa, he's a role model, right?
I would say so.
Fally Ipupa is a role model,
I
and
would say so to a good extent.
to a good extent. You know, he's there, and the music that he portrays. You know, we can speak wholeheartedly that his music is dominating the Congolese countries right now. Like everywhere you go, you listen to Fally. Everywhere you go, so which shows the genius that he is. You know, finding a way how to appease people. You know, how you know he's got that way of just making people be hooked to his music. You know, comes the way he dresses up, comes the way he sings, comes the way he dances. You know, he's simply just he's a trendsetter.
I wouldn't go so far as to call him a genius. He's very good. I just genius. I don't know.
Hey, he's got man. It's all about just respecting the guys hustling.
Fally Ipupa, he's very good. He's a very good musician. I'll definitely give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so enough with the Congo, right? Enough with the Congo. I think we've pretty much spoken enough about the Congo, and you can pretty much have an idea. So guys, just to break it all short, when you come to Congo, you're obviously going to be welcomed with Fally Ipupa's music. That's one thing for sure. Everywhere you go, you're definitely going to know who Fally Ipupa is. But of course, they are pioneers, the people who set the trend, right? The likes of Koffi Olomide, Papa Wemba, you know, the guys who came before, the Wenge Muzika, and all these people, you know, the Where Are Sons, Jibe Mpiana, you know, because we don't have enough time to pretty much go deeper like we did with Koffi and the last of Fally. But then those are the guys who pretty much set a trend, right? And yeah. Okay, but just to because I know, do you think in the long run, when Fally is set to retire, I don't know if it's anytime sooner, do you think he will be recognized as the greatest of all time?
No.
As the GOAT?
No, of course not.
Fally won't be recognized as the GOAT.
No.
He's still got a lot to. Do you think there's room for that?
I don't think he thinks he'll be recognized as a GOAT.
Really?
I think he would have greatly contributed to the arsenal of Congolese music, to the beauty, to that cornucopia of Congolese music. He would have greatly contributed to that.
Okay. So who do you consider as the GOAT?
As the GOAT? As the greatest of all time?
Yeah.
Of Congolese music?
Congolese music.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't like to call anybody the GOAT because, you know, when some of those guys such as Franco and, you know, Tabule, when they were really making waves, we were not around to see it. We were not around to experience the impact that their music really had. We weren't around to live around that time. The reason why old school Koffi has such a great impact on me is because I listened to it growing up as a kid. That's why it has such an impact on me. So Koffi Olomide is my GOAT.
Oh, you consider
He's my greatest of all time.
Your greatest of all time.
Definitely. For me, there is no competition. He could make you dance with his catchy beats, with his catchy music from Quartier Latin. But he could also make you fall in love.
Yeah.
With beautiful music such as Gino and Aspirine and Bambino and all those songs and Coucou and you name them. You know, Orphelin and oh my God, there are just so many. So he's definitely my GOAT of all time.
All right. Okay.
Who's yours?
Me personally, I feel like Fally Ipupa. I don't want to steal that title. You know, I just don't want to block it for him because I think that he's still got room for that. You know, he's currently present. He's still making history. You know, he's still building himself. Like he's still around. You know, Fally's not going anywhere. Like, well, we're still going to be expecting something out of him and all that. Yeah, but for the time being, I'm placing Koffi Olomide up there. Like Koffi Olomide, he's the one who's still holding the realm as the greatest. But I feel like Fally, he's getting there gradually. You know, in the long run, we never know when he retires, when he becomes Kofi's age. You know, we don't know what would have happened or what he would have accomplished. You know, but just I don't know. I just feel like
I have a question. What
Yeah.
what criteria are you basing this GOAT status on?
Well, first of all, I would base for the gold status on the music first, you know, and his popularity, you know, and the impact that he has,
Okay.
the impact that he has
On people in general or on you?
on people in general,
Okay.
on people.
You included. So when you're talking about the music, what you're saying is eventually you think 10, 15, 20 years down the line, if at least is still making music, then, his whole body of music can be considered to be better than Kofi's or Papa Wemba's. Is
Yeah.
that is that what you're saying?
I would say that. I would say that because I feel like Fali. To be honest with you, Fali, of course we can give props to the likes of Kofi's and the Papa Wembas.
Can you name one song of Fali that you like more than Kofi's Cuckoo?
Then Kofi's Cuckoo.
One song
the
of
reason,
Fali
The
Ipupa.
reason. That's what I'm saying. Right. I told you that right now Kofi's the one who's holding the realm.
So you think eventually Fali could make
If
such
Fali
good
has
music?
room to that. We don't know what
so
can
as-
happen
so
in
as
the
to beat
future,
that.
but he has room to that. He's still making his craft. He's still in the making. But
Okay.
Kofi right now, he's still holding the realm as to me. I consider him as the greatest of all time, Kofi Olomide, in terms of Congolese music. But I
Right.
feel like Fali, where he is right now, I may not have any music that's pretty much as influential as daring as I feel for Cuckoo or Aspirin or anything else. But I feel like Fali has room for that. He's still got the opportunity to create an album that would blow our mind. You know what I mean?
Sure, I mean he's still
Yeah,
in
he's
music.
still
so.
he's still present, Fali. So let's not I feel like okay, Kofi's the one who's holding the realm, but we never know. Okay, 15
Yeah,
years,
sure.
20 years from here, we never know what can happen.
Anything's possible, right?
Anything is possible.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. To be quite honest with you, I know there are a lot of people who can say, okay, my girls can be Papa Wemba, Franco,
Of course,
Tabule.
yeah.
This is just our honest opinion, and we're just talking our humble opinion. So you shouldn't get influenced. You shouldn't be, hey guys, we're just talking. It's a conversation. But don't shy away from subscribing. Don't shy away from dropping your comments and everything. But we're just speaking where we're coming from, right? Good. Okay, so we talked about Congo. Now, let's go with South Africa. We're just picking countries randomly. Let's go with South Africa. What do you think about the South African music?
Oh my God, I think it's definitely one of the best in Africa. South African music. South African music is just so melodious, and they have a lot of great musicians. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, I'm an old school kind of guy, so it's the old school musicians that really, tickle my fancies and speak to my soul. And there are so many of them. I'm probably just gonna name a couple of individuals and a couple of groups from South Africa. Of course, you have guys like, you have Hugh Masekela. You have guys like Bongeni Ngema with Stimela Sam.
The old school guys, right?
Yeah, old school guys, definitely. You have Soul
Don't
Brothers.
forget to mention Brenda Fassie.
Of course, you have Soul Brothers. You have Brenda Fassie. You have Miriam Makeba.
Oh, my
and It's
God.
just so many of them.
Jabu.
There's Jabu Kanyile. There's a whole
Jabu
slew
Kanyile.
a whole plethora of great South African musicians. Lucky Dube, of course,
And the groups,
who's also one of my
Lady
favorites.
Smith, Black Mambanzo,
Lady Smith, Black Mambazo, of course, amazing
Platform
musicians.
One,
And even in the gospel world, just the Soweto Gospel Choir.
Oh man,
Just
Oh,
that
man.
I mean, there's just so much. There's a lot we can say about South Africa.
Well, South Africa is honestly, to be quite honest with you, I feel like South Africa has been blessed. You know what I mean? When it comes to music, like especially music that touches the soul.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you,
Yeah.
I've never been like South Africa has been blessed in that sense.
Ringo Mandlingozi. I didn't want to.
Ringo
I didn't
Madlingo.
wanna- I
Oh
didn't
my
wanna forget
God,
him.
man!
Sorry.
Beautiful artists. Those guys are legends. So South Africans, let's get back like the soul. You know, they know how to connect. Whatever music that they play, you know, comes modern, old school, everything. You know, they have a way to make people click.
They do.
You know, and there's so much like, oh man, South Africa. To be honest with you, I feel like South African music for me is, especially when it comes to the oldies and everything. Like when you mentioned Mia Makeba, Ringo Madlingozi, and those guys, you know, Lady Speak, Black Mabanzo,
Yvonne
you know,
Chaka Chaka.
Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Brenda Fassie. Oh my God, man! It's Stimula. What's
Bungin Gema.
Bongeni Ngema? Oh my God, those guys, man! Like when you listen to the music, like it's like you don't know where they get the inspiration from. Especially the choirs when they sing, you know. Muslatini and Mahotela Queens, the guys who sang Kazette.
Right. Right.
You know, those people, you know, those guys when they sing, you know, hey, South Africa is blessed in terms of music, man. To be quite honest with you, and Jabu Kanile, that's the name. And yeah, man, those guys, I pretty much feel like, you know, Africa, guys, we're just generalizing a conversation right now. We're talking about like different genres, and we're talking about like the influence that South Africa has. Like to be quite honest with you, like if you want to have fun in terms of music and everything, you go to the Congolese music. There you dance rumba and dombolo and everything. But if you want to feel the soul, if you want to feel the pain, if you want to feel like, you know, love, guys, I'm telling you, this is just my humble opinion. South African music is the top tier. For me personally, I feel like those guys, they understand music, right? Yeah. So South African music, what music gets to you every time when you listen to it?
You mean South African?
In South Africa.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, music from all those guys that I listed, from all the musicians I mentioned. If you have to mention specific songs, or just
any however you want to, you just want to express the favorite music that you listen to.
No, I mean there are just so many songs from, you know, so many South African songs. I feel like South African, just to try and juxtapose South Africa and the DRC in terms of their music. Now, it's very hard for me to say that I pick one over the other. I guess it's probably going to depend on my mood, given, you know, at a certain given time. You know, when I look at DRC music, like you mentioned, they have the ability to make everyone dance by their catchy music with Wenge Musica and Quartier Latin and Loire and all that. And of course, they can also switch and feed this beautiful, soulful music to the world, you know. So they have the ability to definitely to do that, and we certainly grew up listening to that. Now you go to South Africa. Now South Africa, I think you really put it justly when you said they are blessed. They are blessed. It's as if they had something just inserted into them, so that any time they want to produce beautiful music, beautiful melodies, it comes out almost so effortlessly, you know, in a way that's just so moving, you know. And all of the musicians I mentioned definitely have something. If I look at Bongeni Ngema, he has Stimela Samsa Sizola. You know, if I mention Lucky Dube has a few great songs, such as Victims and The Way It Is, you know, some of my favorite songs.
Jabu Kabile,
Jabu
Spunky Love.
Definitely. You know, Spunky Love.
I'm looking for my woman to be
10 Times Love.
10 Times Love.
I don't know. He just has so many songs. If you go to Brenda Fassie, there's just a whole slew of songs.
Oh, Brenda
Fassie. A whole
Fassie.
plethora of songs right there.
Yvonne Chaka Chaka.
Mama, I'm Sorry, and, you know, Weekend Special, and Vulindlela, of course. You know, all those beautiful songs. You go to Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Komboti. Come on, who's not? I think that's the first song that comes to anybody's mind. You know, when you think Yvonne.
Who's the man?
Yeah, of course.
Telling me go from my land.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. You go to Ringo Mandlingozi, you're thinking Sondela. You know, you're thinking Buisa. Oh my God! Like, come on, I want to listen to the song as I'm mentioning them.
Oh man.
I just wanna.
Yeah, wow. Like
And
yeah,
some of
man.
the others, Miriam Makeba with Pata Pata.
Oh
and,
man, Mira Makeba, she's
You know,
when she sings Malaika,
yeah, Malaika,
beautiful
and all
songs.
those songs. There's just so many,
You know.
so many songs.
It's beautiful songs, legends that we're talking about right now, guys. Legends, you guys should pretty much, after we're done with this video here, well, we invite you to go and search for them on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Legends that we're talking about, legends. Okay. All right, so we're still in South Africa, and there's also a thing with South African music. The fact that they also have a way to express sorrow. South Africa is pretty much a very tough history in terms of apartheid and all that, and the music that we pretty much got the glimpse of it out of Serafina. When Serafina sang the songs in Serafina, it's really hard for me watching Serafina if I'm in closed doors watching without shedding a tear. It's not just through the visuals that I'm seeing, it's not just through the story, but it's pretty much also through the music. And even the song of Solomon Maslangu, Yo Solomon, they have this way of expressing sorrow. Even when they like at times when you see South Africans doing a march, when they are doing this rebellious march and all that, when they're doing the toy dance, I see just a Kruva house, those, you just feel the man, like they invite you into the, like you feel that vibe, that's the African, that's the power of South Africa. That's why I feel like they've been blessed, when it comes to music, when they want to express their sorrow, their love, their joy through music, they're very good at that.
Right.
They've been blessed by God, like through their choirs, their music, everything. They've pretty much been blessed by that. Now let's talk about the modern South Africa. Back in the 2000s, we used to have the groups of like, the guys, the people who were pretty much making it, like the likes of Malaika, you could pretty much remember those guys. And there's also the likes of what you call
Bongo
them?
Muffin. Are they South African or
Bongo Muffins are pretty much Zimbabwean.
are they? Yeah, okay.
They got some Zimbabwean and Bongo Muffins, and there's also the Mafikizolo, So we have the likes of Malaikas, the Mafikizolos, the people who are pretty much, the modern guys. And we also had the likes of the guy who would say he pretty much created the secondary South African national anthem. What do you call it? Sister Bettina. All right.
Right.
Sister Bettina, that song, man, woo! That was a movement right there. You remember, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Sister Bettina, those songs, they really...
DJ Cleo's.
DJ Cleo's, oh man, Amatombazani, when they sing How Low Can You Go, those are the good old days. The DJs, the DJ Cleo's and the Muzekezeke. You remember the guy, right? Muzexman. Yeah, those guys, and it's pretty much gave a certain vibe, And also now there's also house music in South Africa has always been popping. They've always been having this house music and all that, and those guys, man. I pretty much like currently there's a guys like something Soweto,
Yeah, definitely one of
He's
my favorite.
I love his music, man. The guy has just got this, southern voice. The music, everything that he sings is just proper. Now the DJs are pretty much making it nowadays. You got the guys of DJ Mapurisa. The guy who's thing. There's also, right now it's pretty much the
Black Coffee. The DJs.
Huh?
Black Coffee.
Black Coffee, man. Yeah, legends. Those are legends in the making, man. Those guys, they're pretty much, Amapiano now is that's the trend now. Everybody's dancing to Amapiano. Like everybody's just moving, the Amapiano dances and all that. Amapiano is also kicking it. So it just shows that South Africa has just been placed one way or the other. You might prefer like the oldies and all that. But in a way, they're still vibing to a certain music that they have. You know what I mean? Like they always go.
Yeah,
and and what's so unfortunate right now, talented artists are passing away in South Africa, man. The modern guys know that passing away, people are just dying. So it's You know, it's pretty much a black shadow in the music industry in South Africa, whereby most of these prominent artists who just passed away. You know, we're not going to mention the names, you know, but may their souls rest in peace. You know, we will feel for them. So that's what we have about South Africa. You know, do you have anything to add about South Africa? The choir music in South Africa, man. So we didn't talk much about choir music in South Africa, but woo,
They're top
there
notch.
ain't
Best in
no
the world.
choir.
As far
No,
as I'm
they're the
concerned.
top in the world.
Best in the world.
Best in the world. You know, you can bring any.
There's no contest. Not even in America. Not even in the DRC or any other talent.
It's not a question. It's not a question.
No.
South African gospel music, choir, however you want to put it, man, guys, those guys are deep. Woo, South Africa, guys, you should listen to South African music. You know, they connect easy like that. That's the good thing about South Africa. All right, we've talked enough about South Africa. What can we talk about next? Do you have anything in now?
Ooh, Senegal.
Senegal.
I
Ooh,
gotta go
let's go to Senegal. Okay,
Senegal
Senegal.
and
Can we kind of put them together? Senegal, Mali,
Yeah, sure.
because they
do
pretty
that.
much have the same
So we can-
genre.
so we can wrap it up. Salif Keita.
Salif Keita. Ooh.
Salif Keita with Africa.
Africa.
You know, yeah. Beautiful
Africa.
stuff.
Na, 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 na.
Eshurtem, Bife, I love you.
Oh my
beautiful,
God.
Beautiful music.
Beautiful music.
Beautiful music. You listen to that,
Salif Keita.
you just
man.
get transported. You just
Yeah.
get elevated to a whole different realm.
Wow. The music
Of course,
guy.
you have guys like Ismailo.
Ismailo, man.
Ismailo.
Ooh.
Ismailo.
Tajabone.
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 One of the most beautiful songs in the world.
Oh, one of the
Tajabone.
most beautiful songs, man.
Definitely. And
Oh.
then Africa. That song of his.
Africa.
For me, it's
Beautiful, right?
it's not a song. It's no. When I listen to that, it's too powerful for me to merely label it a song.
Yeah.
It's beyond a song.
Beyond.
It's an incantation. It's an homage.
It's a homage to Africa.
It's a tribute. It's beyond just a song.
Yeah, man.
You know, I'm not
Beautiful.
going to dwell on it.
Guys, you
Of
should
course, you
listen
have
to it.
guys
Ismailo, you know, Tajabone, Africa. You know, he's got a lot of songs that
Yeah.
you guys are pretty much can get familiar with, you know. And there's also the last of Kumbagalo. You
Sure,
know.
of course, Kumbagalo. Yeah.
I will never forget the song that she sang with Kofi. C. You know,
Yeah,
you know, that song. Every time when I used to listen, who's this lady here? You know, the
Yeah.
way she will go up and all that. And of
Beautiful
course,
song.
there's a famous
Beautiful.
song, Miniamba. You know,
Yeah.
Miniamba is a very, you know, it's a very felt, touchy song. You know, you guys, you should really listen to these beautiful songs that we're mentioning
Mm-hmm.
out there. You know, legends that we're talking about. Yusundo
Yusundua,
of
great
legends.
musician, great African musician.
You know, oh man, we
There's a
talked
guy,
about them.
Sheikh Low, that I just discovered a couple years ago.
Yeah, Sheikh Low.
Beautiful,
Oh
beautiful
man,
musician. Yeah.
beautiful guys, beautiful. Yusundo. To me, the song that always gets me to you of Yusundo is that song. You know, oh Mbirima. That's a very beautiful song, a catchy song, guys. Mbirima, it's a very beautiful song from Yusundo. It's those are the kind of songs that people pretty much, you know, when you want to listen to something that relates to Africa, you listen to those songs, you know.
Right.
You know, the songs that are just Africa like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
those
you know,
songs
there's
are very...
Birima, there's Tajabone, there's Brenda Fassie's songs, you know, Sumbula, you know, all these songs like Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Ukomboti, you know, all those songs, you know, they pretty much just get you like, I'm African, you know. They just evoke that feeling, you know. You talk about Salif Keita, you know,
Right.
Africa, you know, beautiful songs, you know. They're also gonna go. I don't know, where's she from? Angelique Kidjo.
Wait, Angelique Kidjo.
Is she from Benin, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Angelique Kidjo, she's
like that,
she's
yeah.
a diva, man. Respect to her. Angelique Kidjo, you know,
Great
the songs.
musician.
That's the song. Wombo Lombo, Wombo Lombo, Wombo Lombo.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is Africa, man. When you listen to these songs.
Agolo. Yeah.
Agolo, you know, those are pretty much, you know, and there's also that guy, what's his name? Wesi, the one who sang, is it what is his name? Wace, if I'm not mistaken, the one who sang that song. Ana de man, you know my way.
Yeah. I'm not sure I know what his name is, but it's a beautiful
oh
song.
man, may he rest in peace, man. I pretty much those are the guys that growing up when you listen to the songs, Africa. I'm proud to be Africa. Those are the songs that you guys should listen to. Beautiful songs that really make a certain mark. You know what I mean throughout the history of the world and all that. So we'll talk about Senegal, Benin, and we'll talk about all these legendary artists that we're mentioning. And now let's go to Ivory Coast. Come on, we cannot talk about, if you want to have fun in terms of music, you can't talk, we can talk, you got to talk about Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast. And the genre that they actually created, Coupé de Calais.
Mm-hmm.
My damn. Oof. Coupé de Calais. Coupé de Calais is pretty much, it has a fascinating history. The thing about Coupé de Calais, right? Like it started probably in the early 2000s. I'm not mistaken. Probably in the early 2000s. It was pretty much inaugurated by the guy. Early 2000s, right? And it was pretty much inaugurated by the guy called Duke Saga. Oh my God! Duke Saga. Sagacité. A legend in his making. You know what I mean? The guy. The way he used to dance, the swag that he used to have, man. The dressing style, the dressing code. Flashy with the door and everything. And Coupé de Calais started from there. It just took over. It became a trend. Duke Saga, Coupé de Calais, and music was popping. Then unfortunately the guy passed away, but they had to be another dude from there, because Ivory Coast is full of superstars. We're not going to talk about Coupé de Calais, because guys, mind you, in Ivory Coast, that's where you see the likes of Mewe. That's where you see the likes of Magic System. Guys, that's when you see all those guys. So Ivory Coast is also a country where you should digest their music. Guys, I'm telling you, Ivory Coast is a place to be. If you want to have fun and all these kind of things, go to Ivory Coast and you have fun. So yeah, there was Duke Saga in terms of Coupé de Calais. Duke Saga, they pretty much did their thing. And the guy that just came and took it to another level, guys, man. We got to talk about Arafat. Two legends who passed away. May their soul rest in peace, man. Two legends, man. What Arafat has done, I never thought, when I used to listen to an Arafat song, honestly, like the music, I would not understand what he would say. He would do his thing, DJ Arafat, he would do his thing. But the tempo, his voice, the way he would just handle things, man, when you're on the dance floor, guy, you just get in a certain way, you get crazy with his music. Right.
That's what came close to my appreciation for Jamaican dancehall music.
Yeah, so respect to Arafat, respect to Duke Saga, the likes of Mewe, Magic System. Those guys are still killing it, man. Pretty much respect to all these guys. But we got to talk about Nigeria and Ghana, man. Ghana with Azonto. Those guys have really brought in a new style, back in the early 2010s and all that. Azonto was kicking it and all that. Afrobeat, the likes of P Squares, the Burna Boys, the Two Face, Davido and Wizkid. Those are pretty much we can't say much about them because you guys already know everything about them. They're the ones who are making Africa right now. Nigerian music, woof, those guys are killing it right now. The guy who sang Rema, right?
What?
Baby, calm down. Yo, this
probably.
Yeah, those guys are pretty much legends in the making, man. I respect Nigerian music and all that. So yeah, guys, as you know, we talked about everything, which we at least we try to cover the whole continent of Africa.
Yeah.
And we also going to mention Ethiopia, man, Eskista, guys, guys who haven't forgotten you. You guys you also got your music that we listen to. Beautiful songs, beautiful music around the world, everywhere we go. Guys, I'm telling you, listen to the kind of music that we lay out, that we just that we just listed out there. You guys, you won't be disappointed because Africa has a huge platform when it comes to music. You won't be disappointed. It would be a miss
if we didn't mention Cameroon, Soukous, and Bendika. And
Cameroon, Bendika, Grass Dika. Oh man, legendary people, man, legendary people, and we're pretty much grateful with them. So guys, so this is where we are. This is where we stand. So today we really want to talk about music. We want to have fun, and yeah, I think we were served, right?
Oh yeah, I had a great time talking about it.
We were served. We were
you
served. I
guys
hope
do
that,
too.
hey guys, we haven't forgotten. There are a lot of countries that we didn't mention. But you know, fortunately, we have to wrap it up. And don't hesitate if you want. If you want us to do a part 2, we can always do a part 2. But that's where we are, and we're here to get you, to keep you guys entertained. All right, that's where we are. Stay tuned. This is the Gentleman's Club.